Well, good day everyone. It's the Two Ordinary Cops and we are back. Damo, how are you?
Good, mate, good. We're back, and we're still in Darwin, mate.
We are.
And we're having a ball. Like we said in the last one, it's been bloody good. We're catching up with everyone. And this is the first of a few interviews that we've been doing.
It is.
And, mate, if you don't mind, I'd like to interview. Listen to me. I'd like to introduce our guest.
I can see why you're ordinary coppers.
I think the term's very ordinary, mate. Very ordinary. Yeah. So we're very lucky today. We have the President of the Northern Territory Police Association, Mr. Nathan Finn. Finny, how are you, mate?
Good, gentlemen, yourselves?
Gentlemen.
Yeah,
I haven't seen one in a while, but yeah.
I use the term lightly.
Yeah. No, very good. Finny, thanks very much for coming on, mate. It's really good that we've got you on board. And the idea of what we've been doing, you're familiar with what we've done. There's nothing fancy about us. There's nothing flash. Hence the name of the podcast.
There was never anything fancy about you two.
No, there wasn't.
Sorry, I'm not here to take the piss.
No. We love it, and we will take it.
Yeah, we do insist. So, Finny, do you want to go through, just talk about your background in the NT?
Yeah, so I arrived in the Northern Territory back in 1997 after a football season in Melbourne and an end-of-year football trip that went to Alice Springs and never left from there. So, arrived in the Territory in September of 97 after the final series of the VFL down in Melbourne. Had a bit of time in Alice Springs, worked at the casino, decided to join the police when I was 25 and I was still in Alice Springs at that time in 2003. Joined the police college in February 2003 and squad 73 of 2003 with 36 other delightful people. Not too many left now.
Yeah.
So we're talking roughly into our 22nd year of policing here in the Northern Territory. Once I graduated from the college at Berrima, got sent back to Alice Springs to police the community where you've been living, which was a tough gig, especially after racing motorbikes and doing the Fink a number of times down Alice Springs prior to me joining, and then going back and doing the same thing again. It was a tough gig because you knew a lot of people in the community. It's hard to police the people you know in such a small location, but thoroughly enjoyed the experience going back there. Unfortunately, didn't stay in Alice Springs too long. Well, fortunately for me, I didn't stay in Alice Springs for too long. It's got its own challenges, as we know, and we continually hear throughout the media now. Had an opportunity to relieve at remote and met some great people, and that's where the policing really started for me, at remote areas. Relief at, first of all, Kintore, Papunya, Hermansburg, Colgra, Yalara, all the numerous central stations there. But then I was relieved at Papunya for about 6 months, where I met some great mates, Kylie Anderson, which I believe you're speaking to at some point in time as well.
Yep.
She's now the commander of Northern Region. I'd love to tell you a few stories about but we'll save those stories for another day.
Yeah, definitely.
There's plenty of stories you'd love to tell, and differing policing experiences across the regions where we work, especially in the remote area. But the remote area is where I defined my career. Had a ball at Papunya, played with the local football team at Papunya against the other communities as well. Transferred to Yuendamu as a probationary constable still on a full-time basis. Found myself into riots, wrestling and boxing classes every day there at Yuendamu, and it was a great experience though for 2 years at Yuendamu. The fact that I learnt about the culture of Aboriginal people in Yuendamu, the propensity for violence they had against police. I went to Yuendamu after an officer had his two arms broken, tried to party pack a group of fighting people and got one arm broken by the Nulla Nulla, and then he changed hands with the party pack and got his other hand broken with the Nulla Nulla, and ended up with two broken wrists. So I went and relieved for him to start with there, and then got the full-time position and stayed there for the 2 years.
Yep.
Still on probationary as the acting sergeant.
Love it.
Yeah. I still remember the day where a young probationary constable was with me, and I'm sitting there going, "You better put your vest on, young fella." We just had an axe thrown through the side of the police car. We retreated back. We had houses burning. We had cars burning. We had everything. What could be on fire was on fire in the community, and they were drawing our attention back to the police station and axing the front door, trying to get in to get to us, and quite upset with us at that point in time. I said, "Young fella, get a vest on, load every gun up we've got, and get ready for a shooting at AK Corral."
They're wild times, aren't they?
So wild times and great memories, but on the edge of the seat, shit.
Yeah.
were
Oh, yeah.
dealing with, and you guys aren't immune to that as well. You've been in those remote situations where there's two of you against the thousands that are coming for you.
Yep.
And you just sit down and go, yeah, what do you do? But from that point, I took the next trip up the Stewart Highway. Didn't get as far as I'd like to get up the Stewart Highway, but I got to Elliot.
That's not far, Finny.
No, that's not far at all. Only halfway between Darwin and Alice Springs. So I got the opportunity to be the remote sergeant there for a couple of years with a great mate, Shorty, which you guys are great mates with. Let's just say Elliot did teach us both how to wakeboard. There was some benefits in working in Elliot, but we arrived at Elliot just prior to the intervention period, and the intervention coming across the Northern Territory back in 2008. Spent a couple of years there, but great memories of great people and great community people in the cattle station industry. Met some great people and lifelong friends from that area, and still be in touch with those guys at the same time as well. So from there, back to Alice Springs. I don't know what I was thinking, but
Something about the desert,
You like the desert.
Yeah.
I like everything about Alice Springs on the outside of Alice Springs. Not Alice Springs so much in particular, but the activities that you can do in Alice Springs, the camping, the motorbike riding. I was heavily into motorbike racing back then. Had the opportunity to complete 9 Fink Desert races. Finished 7 of them. Ended up in hospital a couple of times, but don't talk about them still. But yeah, had a ball. Great mate still down there, still doing it. They're trying to convince me to go back for the 50th anniversary of the Fink Desert race to chuck a leg over a motorbike, but I don't think I'm quite capable of that anymore.
You think that's past you now?
I think that's a little bit past me, and I don't think put your balls on the steering and go the hard as you can is not me anymore.
No. What is it? The biggest killer of old men is old men thinking they're young men.
I can still vouch for that. I still think I can play footy. I still think I can play rugby union. I can still think I can play a lot of things. My mind tells me I can, but my body won't take me there.
There's not enough ibuprofen in the world, mate. I can't do it.
Yep. And the days it takes to recover nowadays, you just can't do it. So,
No.
back to Alice Springs. Went through some crazy times in Alice Springs. Got promoted to sergeant back in 2008. Just under 4 years in the job. So back to Alice Springs as sergeant, looking after the social order aspects there, dealing with the alcoholism across Alice Springs and the area. Then didn't last in that too long, and they seen an opportunity for me to be watch commander, and went straight into the watch commander role basically after about 4 or 5 months in Alice Springs. Straight into that role, watch commanding Alice Springs, finding this whole new role of policing. Working by yourself back in the day, looking after the watch house, looking after all your patrol groups as well. It was a very sink or swim situation where you were forced to do a lot of things that you weren't quite trained for, and put into the role, and some dangerous positions in the end. Unfortunately, later that year in 2008, I received a call which I don't know if you remember Mark Ashton.
Oh, the name's familiar,
he used to be in crime in Alice Springs. Get a call over. I was watch commander of the day, and get a call that members have lost their baton at one of the town camps in Alice Springs.
Yeah.
Unbeknown to me, but their version of lost the baton wasn't quite the version that they provided to me over the radio, which we later find out a little bit later that night after a lot of events took place. The losing of the baton resulted in the person throwing the baton through a car window and into a car, and they drove off.
Yeah. That'll do it. Yeah.
That does it. Didn't stop the car, what was their intention, but the car drove off with their police-issued baton.
Yeah.
Let's just say I didn't find that until later on. We were searching high and low for this car through Alice Springs, all around town. We'd seen sights of the car. We're trying to find it, going, the guys are obviously shitting themselves at that point in time. I've lost my baton. What do I do, boss? We ended up finding the car. I found the car at Old South Road, so out south of Alice Springs, about 20 k's out of town, dirt road, just past the airport where the old Fink Desert Race start line was. Found the car, come across it on the clay pan. I've gone, great work, we've got it. Boys, radio in. I got the car, went to trap it. Went to pull it over. They've driven at me, drove straight in the side of my police car. I've gone, fucking ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
Game on here, boys.
Yep.
At that point, jumped out of the car, realised that they had weapons in the car as well, drew me firearm, placed them at gunpoint to stop what they were doing. They were continually trying to get out of there. The car had issues with the mechanical wires, so it wasn't going to go too far.
Yep.
At that point in time, I reached in, turned the car off. At that point in time, he grabbed hold of me, tried to drag me in through the car window. There was other 4 people in the car as well as the driver. At that point in time, I seen one of the offenders go for the glove box of the car, reach in. I'm going, knowing what being stored in glove boxes and through cars in Central Australia.
Yep.
Thinking the worst. At that point in time, the baton appears. They throw the baton to the guy in the front, and then he tries to start hitting me with the police issued baton.
Yeah.
So we've got a wrestle situation going on there. Then all of a sudden, I've seen the passenger go to the boot of the car, and I'm thinking, "Fuck, I'm by myself. I'm 20k south of Alice Springs.
Yep.
What are we going to do here?" Next thing I know, I was on the ground unconscious.
Oh.
Yeah, so shit got real heavy real quick.
Jeez.
In the end, woke up and found out I'd been hit obviously by something. Woke up and found one of the offenders standing over with a big quartz rock, probably the size of 2 basketballs in size, ready to drop it on my head when I woke up. So at that point in time, as you do, laying on my back, groggy as hell, blood everywhere throughout my head. Pulled my gun out, threatened him to, if he's going to do it, he's going to have some lead in him at that point in time. And the only thing that did save me that day from that happening is with my police car that was still running. So they took that opportunity to go, "Hey, big fella, we've got you. We've also got your car now that's still running."
Yep.
So all 5 people got out of the other car, into my car, police car. Not, as I said at the time, don't give a shit, not my car. Go with the police car, whatever. Just go, leave me alone. Trying to get, you could hear sirens in the background. I knew the guys and girls were coming as fast as they possibly could, and they could hear that in my voice when I called for backup and assistance. They thought it was a good idea. We're on a clay pan, and they thought they'd play a bit of chicken with me before they'd go. So they were lining me up, trying to run me over.
Jeez.
A bit of experience. Tried to run me over on other occasions, but the only thing that they thought was police cars coming sooner was them transmitting on the radio with their sirens going. So they thought they could hear that the sirens were closer.
Oh, right.
So at the point, I had back to the windrow on the road where they used to grade the road, and they drove at me, and I was going to have to dive in there. I was just, in the end, I just stood there. Had nowhere else to go. There was nothing to hide behind. There was just me and the gun, and luckily they didn't try to take me on us. So probably be a different story, and I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
But so that was a bit of fun in Alice Springs. They stole me police car. We ended up catching him halfway to Fink community.
Wow.
Had some good mates that followed them all the way and tracked them about 40 k's into the desert through their tracking. Found them located. Unfortunately, they found them alive.
Yep.
They were put before court. They served some serious time. Where one of the offenders actually committed suicide when he was in custody over it as well. So
wow.
They got some serious offences, but that was just one incident in Alice Springs.
Oh, yeah.
There's a myriad of shit we could go through. A myriad of from police shootings in 2009. The list goes on.
Oh, yeah.
Memorable experience, but life-changing experiences for me. And I sought a different refuge, and a refuge of Darwin after that, and got transferred back to Darwin and promoted into the senior sergeant ranks then, and that was back in 2009. So 6 years into my career, promoted to senior sergeant, moved back to Darwin, and then things started to settle down a bit.
Yeah.
Well, not really. They transferred me to executive service division, which between me and the bosses, we probably didn't get along the best over the years and over the course of my career. So it was a bit of an interesting play, but again, none of the rest. It was a good learning experience about how the corporate business runs up in the Northern Territory Police, and got a good understanding of that and how some of their shit decisions are made, and why some of their shit decisions are made based on the correct information that's provided to them. But it gave me a good undertaking and knowledge about how things work as part of the police force hierarchy, etc. Then an opportunity to go back to Catherine, back to remote. As I said before, Kylie, who I'd worked at Papunya with, come to Catherine. It's a great place.
Yeah.
I think that's where we
Alice.
first met you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was about 2010.
You would have been.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, traumatic experience. Not so traumatic experience, but a bit of fun. I was looking after Arafura region, which encompasses most of Arnhem Land. Got to travel to some remarkable places across the territory, meet some remarkable people and remarkable police officers who I managed at that point in time, and great friends with a lot of those people now, and providing that assistance to them as a manager, knowing what remote policing's like, it put me in great stead of being able to manage them and work across there. So, but a bit of fun, opportunity to do some superintendent work down there as well. Acted up pretty much straight away, as you know.
Yeah.
When you get promoted to one rank, you act in the next rank pretty quickly.
Yep.
Sure do.
Which, again, totally out of my depth. And the people that know me will know that.
No, that's all right. That's the
Again.
So we've got the 3 ordinary cops here.
Yeah, 3 ordinary.
Yeah.
Very ordinary.
Yeah.
But again, you learn. The more situations you deal with, the more situations you put in, the quicker you learn, and that's what happens in the Northern Territory Police Force. And no one can say anything different, I don't believe. But
No.
yeah, unfortunate circumstances in Catherine led to me being transferred out of there, resulted in a departmental crash and then resulted in the loss of life of a pedestrian. Again, nothing untoward in that. Investigated everything else, so I was moved back to Darwin to find another place, a bit more quieter, hopefully.
Yeah.
Where these things tend to follow me. But
Finny, I thought I was a shit magnet.
yeah, no, you're not a shit magnet.
Yeah.
If I go back to the original start, in Unamu we had a cyanide spill. The first one we'd ever had in the Northern Territory, so dealt with that. We had a plane crash in Elliot.
Yep.
We also had another cyanide spill, so I was becoming the cyanide spill expert of the Northern Territory Police Force. Managed that, closed the highway off in Elliot, the Stewart Highway, for a number of days. Got ordered by the Chief Minister at the time to reopen the highway. Told him to, if he wants to open it, he can come down and open it himself, because I wasn't opening it due to the risk. I soon got replaced from those duties, and someone else was sent to manage the situation. Simply because I wasn't being dictated to by a public servant in an office in Darwin.
Yep.
If you want to come and have a look, come and have a look yourselves, and you can make those decisions. I'm not prepared to make those decisions based on the risks to the public. So, but yeah, you call shit magnets. Yeah, had missing people, dealt with it all right across the Northern Territory. Had some great experiences. Yeah, filming a missing person show near Daly Waters. We had missing people go missing. We used to call it the Bermuda Triangle, where people would just pull up on the side of the road and disappear.
Just vanish.
And dealing with that. Remember filming a missing person show for a New Zealand national that went missing in that region, and get a call at the same time that a helicopter's had a crash at the station, just Merrifield, just up the road, and a young Italian tourist had the top of her head taken off by the rotor blade as the helicopter went to take off. So we dropped the filming, went dealt with that.
And do the job,
Again, with a great mate, Shorty, close by side.
Well, he might be a bit of a shit magnet too, I reckon.
Oh, yeah.
I think he is.
Yeah.
It won't be just 3 ordinary coppers, it'll be 4.
Yeah, that's right.
I tell you what, mate, I thought I was a shit magnet, but I got nothing on you.
No, definitely not. But we're still here to talk about it.
Oh,
That's the main
right.
thing.
Exactly.
And the mates you go through these crisis situations, the mates you deal with it and come out the other side with, are just you can't thank them enough for the job they do and the job we do together. And
So with that, like obviously you're talking about there that there's so many things that you spoke about, those jobs, but what I find is the same for all of us. The conversations we've had and had with other people, and not just on the podcast itself, but actually just chatting to people. It's the same coping. Everyone says, "Thank God my mates were there." It was all about the team, and that's we're not. This is not a single player sport. This is very much a team sport, and you can't do this without people. You know, you tell that story. You were there. I bet you've never felt more lonely in your life out on that clay pan south of Alice Springs.
Oh, guaranteed. And the problem is that situation is that I'm not a small fella. I've never been a small fella. Don't ever want to be a small fella. And when someone gets taken down who's a firearms instructor, a defensive tactics instructor, very proficient at policing, it sent a message through to the whole station that, fuck, we're not 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
No.
And none of us are.
No, that's
individually,
right.
collectively, we are a force.
Yep.
And you look to your mates when you're in a need of crisis, and sometimes they're there.
Yep.
And sometimes they're not. But thank God they are there when you do need them.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That feeling you get when you can hear the sirens coming up behind you to back you up. There's no better
this-
feeling. I even get it now.
yeah, this is
you get that
universal.
tingling
It's
effect,
like the
don't you?
Popeye spinach scenario where you pop the spinach and
Yeah,
10
you
foot
grow a
tall
foot.
and bulletproof, you're a foot taller, you're ready to go. You start,
Your arms
there's a
get big.
Bounce in your step.
What I love about that is so universal, because I had a conversation with a New South Wales copper about 2 weeks ago, and it was exactly that. He said, we had a shit fight in Bellingen, which is a little town just out of Coffs Harbour. And he said, the sweetest sound in the world. And I said, those sirens are good, aren't they? And he laughed and went, yeah, you get it. It's like, mate, I hear you. But Ambos have said it, that sweet sound of backup. It doesn't matter. You just know that the cavalry's coming. And
You know that help's coming.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
sometimes it gets there quick enough, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yep.
But you know it's coming, and that's the biggest thing in the policing perspective. You are a family. You are a group of mates. You are a group of people trying to achieve the same thing in the community.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you look back now and go, fuck, how'd I get through that area? How'd I get through that situation? But you did, because of your mates and the work that you do and the trust you have in them to back you 110%.
Yeah, that's right. Hey,
Yeah.
I got it. So you obviously went to Alice Springs, like basically straight off,
Yeah.
down in the desert region, all that sort of thing, and you would have heard, obviously, well, truly what's happening down in Alice Springs. Everybody's, it's all over the media and all that. And have you seen much change, like from when you were there now, like then to now?
Yeah, the community's really turned dysfunctional down there.
Yeah.
We've seen a situation where a lot of people, a lot of long-term Alice Springs residents are leaving there because they don't feel safe. They're not feeling the safety. Again, it plays that out in the media as well.
Yeah.
The availability of media and the negative publicity that attracts. I don't believe the crime has gone through the roof down there. It's just being advertised now.
Yeah, that's right.
And our members will tell you that the same. But when we're still operating on the same platform we had 20 years ago down there, when I was first there, we had 4 vans on the road. We struggle to get 4 vans on the road now, considering the increase. So that's where the issue is.
Yeah.
We haven't kept up with the demand of policing in the Northern Territory, and,
that's right.
and we're struggling from that. But how do we get to here? How do I get to this position here? Through years of challenging behaviour from the executive of the Northern Territory Police Force. Put in a position where a couple of close mates had committed suicide here in the Northern Territory. Got asked to do a police valedictory speech, and one of my best mates, who was a squad mate as well, had his ceremony here for the police force for the ceremony they had. I done the police valedictory speech. The commissioner was quite pissed off at the time that they'd asked me. I was asked by the family. I didn't reach out and do this. They asked me to do it, and I done it in respect to him and his family. Told the truth. At the time, the truth wasn't real palatable.
No.
And it hasn't been for some time for some of the executive members. At that point in time, I was marched in and basically told whether we should sack you, you're a disgrace to this uniform, you shouldn't be wearing a uniform. Basically, what are you going to do with your career? Because we fucking don't want you here, basically, was the words that were said. Through an argument with an AC. So we best not have this conversation over the phone. How about we come in the office? And he didn't want to meet face to face with me. I don't know why at that point in time, but we could have had some chosen words. And in the end, I said, "Done speaking to you. I'll speak to the commissioner, and we'll have that chat with him. If he's got the issue with me, I'll have a chat with him at the time." Next thing, I marched into the commissioner's office and explaining why I should have my job, because I'd spoken the truth about the members' feelings and what was going on for him in the lead up to his suicide. And again, that wasn't palatable. All it was you should be supporting us, because I wasn't speaking out against them. I was speaking the truth about how he felt and why he couldn't do his general duties role anymore, because he didn't feel supported. He didn't have the health and well-being support that he deserved. And you know yourselves, going to job after job after job, it's just relentless some days.
Wears you down.
And you don't choose what jobs you go to. You're given what jobs. And as you said, we talked about shit magnets before. Some days you can go for months and months and not get a shit job. But some days you get the suicide to the fatal crash to a drowning to whatever it is, to a
Yep.
child sexual abuse case, and all those things play in your mind. And it's cumulative, as you know. It's a cumulative effect of what happens and what you
definitely,
deal
yeah.
with. And the exposure to the trauma you get is next level here. It's
Yeah.
not experienced by any other police force in Australia.
Yep.
So knowing that, and knowing my ability to speak up when I had to speak up, I ended the conversation after 45 minutes with, if you're not going to fucking sack me, it's time for me to go and to depart the office.
Yep.
He goes, I'm not going to sack you. You need to sing my praises, though, and you need to support me in what I'm doing. That didn't happen. I'm sorry, Commissioner Chalker, but I wasn't that aligned to what your thoughts were on that. I wasn't singing your praises. I was actually challenging your behaviour and how you treated our members. And at the time, I'll stand proudly and challenge that any day of the week that anyone wants to have a go at our members. So, moving on from that, they moved me a little bit sideways. As they do, they try to punish you by moving you into a position where you can't have any influence on it over staff, and that was the conversation when they forced transfer me in Darwin to have a go and say, well, you've got no chance to have any impact on our staff. You've got too high a morale at Palmerston, where I was at the time.
Yep.
And that breeds corruption, basically. So, in other words, I had supportive staff of what I was doing and the support I was providing them, but they chose to move me away because I was too powerful at the time, they told me.
Yep.
And transfer me in a position where I didn't want to be.
Yep.
Never wanted to be. Managing a computer program, if you know me, I struggle to type 2 sentences, let alone creating a computer program. And don't hold me on that. I didn't create Serpro. I didn't design Serpro. I was forced transferred in there. And every time I tried to apply out, they'd come up with an internal investigation to go, no, you can't transfer because you've got an internal investigation against you. That old chestnut.
Yep.
Which I've seen after and challenged that a numerous amount of times. At the time, Paul McHugh was here at the association as the president. Told me, I kept giving him a bit of a hard time, as you do, if you don't think that things are being run properly and members are being looked after how they should be looked after. I like to challenge that scenario and provide a bit of insight of how we can do things better. So he said either shut up or come on board. I come on board. He appointed me as an executive member here to the association, and that was back in 2022. Yep. So in less than 12 months, we had elections coming up for the president role. Paul had resigned, etc. Put my hand up for the president role reluctantly an hour before the nominations closed for that position. A month later, after the results were counted, I was elected president of the Northern Territory Police Association.
And here you are.
And here we are. Here we are, and I think I'm finding a niche role where I can actually speak the truth.
Yep.
I can actually understand what the members go through on a daily basis, the frustrations they have, and being able to hold the current executive of the Northern Territory Police Force to account for some poor decisions they make, but also provide that guidance to them as well, that this is how our members feel. This is how our members feel like they're treated, and we need to improve that and make sure our members are supported in the role they need to do.
Yep.
Some challenging times, as you've seen probably in the media across. I've been quite vocal and quite vocal against the previous government here in the Northern Territory. They've done nothing to improve our policing scenario here in the last 8 years of their government. I was quite vocal in that aspect as well. They've done nothing to improve the ability to provide the police service and resources we need to deal with the crime that was out of control here in the Northern Territory and still is to some extent. We're seeing some big changes, advocated for a resource allocation review that was done at the end of the start of last year. Start of this year. It was handed down where we need an extra 200 police officers. It was all funded. It's all been funded now. An extra $570 million provided to the Northern Territory Police budget over the next 4 years to enable that as well. So we're making some positive changes, positive legislation changes around assault police, which I've been pushing for years for mandatory minimum sentencing. We're seeing that now come on board. We're seeing protections for members. But the biggest thing I've found in here and the biggest information that comes back to me by members is they've finally got someone that's willing to stand up and speak about the issues that are going on.
For sure.
And if you guys know me, I'm not one to step backwards. If there's an argument to have, the argument,
red rag to a bull.
The argument's going to be there, and I'm willing to say what I mean based on my knowledge in policing across the Northern Territory, and it's quite vast. I've had plenty of experience right across the network and been to every station or managed or supervised members at each of those stations right across the Northern Territory.
Yep.
So fully aware of the issues that members face. And our members ring me and, can't thank me enough for the support we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve here in the Northern Territory. When we ask members to join the Northern Territory Police Association, when they come into recruit training, they don't see the value of that at that time, but they do as they move further into their career. And I don't know what your sentiments are, gentlemen, and I believe you were both members for a long time of the Northern Territory Police Association. It's not about you who you're supporting with your membership to the association. It's about supporting that member that has that shit day or has to make that split-second decision that they know that there's someone going to have their back at the end of that day.
Exactly.
And know that we'll do everything we possibly can to protect them and make sure that their family's looked after, whether that's through donations or legacy or whatever it is, but there's support mechanisms that we reach into and provide to our members on a daily basis is there, and that's what we are about at the Police Association, and we're trying to build that legacy on the people that have built this great organisation and ability. And people say we have too much power in the media and everything else, and we're seeing this with the current coronial submissions as well, going through to the coronial that's just finishing up in Alice Springs, but we have a strong voice. We have a strong voice because we have a united voice. We've got so much of the membership of the Northern Territory Police Force. 98% of our members of the whole police force are members of the association, and we speak on behalf of all those members. Some 1,747 members, I think, at the current establishment is at the moment, and we speak well and truly on 98% of those members' voices. And we're there to provide that collective support to make sure they're supported in the workplace. Their industrial entitlements are protected, to make sure that we remain attractive to other jurisdictions across Australia so we can recruit and retain our members going forward. Because, as you guys know, policing's it's got its lifespan. And some days you don't earn enough.
No.
But majority of the time you are well overpaid for what you do.
I agree with that, definitely.
Well overpaid, but there's sometimes you cannot get paid enough money in the world, and the emotional baggage that you tack along from that is huge. And I'm a big supporter of mental health. I'm a big supporter of those members going through PTSD situations, and always have and always will be.
It's such a solid point that there are unions all over the place, and we're not a political podcast, but the fact is that there's very few jobs you can do where you can do your job as you're trained to do it and end up being charged with murder. So there is, it's just, I was always a firm believer that you definitely need that support. I'd been on the receiving end of internal problems as well, and it's nothing major. I'll clear that up. But you definitely, it was very good to know you've got someone there to just be in your corner, because you do feel very isolated here. None of you people were there. I've seen people accused of things and then gone, you would never do that because you're not brave enough to go into that situation, and now you're attacking this person who did. And
the criticism that comes in the post reviews of critical incidents, etc., by people that haven't got the experience or haven't been put in that same situation. Everyone reacts differently to different situations.
Exactly.
As we know, and unfortunately, we've seen a position where a police officer gets charged with murder or gets charged with anything else. It provides a ripple effect across the police force that, when another member gets put in that same or similar situation, they're going to doubt themselves whether they can actually do it. And that's putting their lives in danger.
That's right.
And as I always say to them, I'd much rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6 at the end of the day. And our members support that, and they understand, to the best of their knowledge, their legislation, their capabilities of what they can and can't do. But again, it provides that fear to them. We've seen old mate just get charged with murder. We don't want to go through the same thing, because we've seen what's happened to him and how he's obviously been put in the spotlight. It's not a nice situation to be, but again, as I say to him, you make the decision, you make a split-second decision. It's going to be critical, as long as you can back yourself and why you're doing it, and you need to do it. You take that action you need to take. At the end of the day, we're here to support them through that process. people haven't got millions of dollars to represent themselves, and that's why the association there, as long as they're acting in good faith in the workplace, they're doing everything within their guidelines and legislative requirements of being a police officer. We're there to support them, we're there to have the back.
Yeah.
And their families as well through traumatic situations like that.
Yeah. I like, just touching on that point, I found later on in the, you know, as we progress with the police, you'd attend a lot of stuff, and you'd find that there's a lot of the junior members that were afraid of actually making a decision or making a call. And I think I actually, at one of the police association conferences, I actually said the problem is because these reprimands are being handed out like confetti.
Yeah.
So everybody's getting on, and scaring. Especially, it's all right, it's not too bad for us. We were lucky enough to have some really good senior members taught us how to justify our actions and actually, you know, within the policy and procedure and legislation, all that sort of thing. But then I don't think that younger generation got that, and that without the supervisors looking after them because they just didn't have time, were just so overwhelmed, they're now afraid to make a decision because they're going to get a reprimand for it.
But as you go through and you're explaining that, the police officers, they don't like to feel vulnerable, so they won't write that they felt vulnerable at that time and they felt like they feared for their life or death or in the situation they're in. They're very proud and they're very strong people and think that I wasn't scared.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Oh, guaranteed you were.
Because I've been scared.
I've seen you shaking like a fucking leaf standing next to me. Sorry, I shouldn't swear.
No, you can swear.
No,
That's swear. You're allowed to swear.
It's just like court.
It's like quarter at a commissioner.
Yeah.
So there are challenging things, and that's something I've been working on here at the association since I started about the disciplinary space and the effect it has had on our members. We've just seen a secondment from a commander from AFP come up here and do some changes within the Professional Standards Command and the effect it has on members, which we've got an early intervention program now to identify any changes in members' behaviours to deal with those situations, early possible thing, and an education approach. To instead of a punitive approach to hold disciplinary investigations over for months and months and months. As you know what it's like when you've got an investigation against you, you tend to worry, it causes issues at home, it causes issues at work, you're unsure about where you sit. But we're seeing that huge change and a huge shift, and that's through the support of the Commissioner to start with, and also the support of Jason Kennedy, who's just departed here back to AFP. But we've seen some significant change, and that through that thing.
Yeah.
And having experience back at the NTPA, Ivana Young's the field officer here. I can't thank her enough for her knowledge in the workplace, her industrial experience, her legal experience now. She's now a lawyer as well since her time here. She's been, and I've had Ray Murphy. I don't know if you know Ray Murphy, ex-sergeant, Lieutenant Creek, many years of policing and many years of experience. Went on to leave the police force after some unfortunate incidents, and he's been through that disciplinary space as well. Decided to become a lawyer, and a very good lawyer here in Darwin, a lawyer and barrister here in Darwin. He's made the transition back to the Northern Territory Police Association. We've got him on the books full time as of March this year, so he's been a great asset to have here at the office, and knows how policing works, knows how dodgy some of the police work can be. But knows who to speak to and how to point this stuff out to them and make sure that we're improving the police force and trying to make it as best we possibly can.
It's a tough gig, mate, and I think we got the right man for the job. It's just excellent. I remember when you got the gig, and I thought, how good is that? Because I don't know if you remember, but I was at that funeral and I heard that speech, and I remember all of us through the tears. It was a terrible funeral. It was horrible. We were all in masks. It was in the middle of COVID, and all of us sort of stopped crying for a minute and went, oh, because it was raw, it was honest, and it was said right in front of the Commissioner and the Deputy Commissioner and everyone else who was sitting there. So, yeah, no, mate, we're...
It's no one else's story, it's his story to be told, and
that's
it
right.
needed to be told,
Yeah.
because that's how he felt.
That's right, yeah.
That's the sentiments that he had, and through conversations with me. Again, one of those things where you get frustrated, where he'd ring you for minor things or ask for advice about minor things, but when the critical point happened, he didn't reach out.
Yeah, that's right.
All we got was messages. Most of us got messages from him indicating what he'd done or where he'd been and where to find him. So it's a tragic,
it was shocking.
very hard thing to deal with, and we had a number of periods over that time as well. I think we had 4 in totality within a 4-month period, and all
that's
close.
correct,
And we are a close family of just over 1,700 members. We know everyone. We know their families. We know their brothers. We know their sisters. We know their parents. We know their partners. They know their kids. So it takes a huge toll on a police force that at the time was under significant pressure from the powers to be that thought they were the be all and end all. But at the end of the day, we've seen some commissioners come and go, and we'll see some more commissioners come and go. No doubt. But we just need to make sure that they're doing the best interest of our members and making sure they're supported. And we can guarantee I'll have their back 110%, our members out there, to point out the wrongs and point the executive in the right direction and make sure this government's doing the best possible thing they can do to support our members.
Yeah, definitely. Mate, thanks very much for that. That's
That's awesome. We'll leave the last comments to you. I mean, if you've got anything more to talk about, you can. This is your space, Finny.
No, it's not my space, it's your space. But all I can say is that two guys that I probably didn't ever expect to be in the media podcast business making it huge, and members love it because it's raw, it's reflective of your time here in the Northern Territory. And I know your police forces otherwise are different right across Australia, but it resonates. With our members, it resonates with members across the other side of the world because they're fascinated by the policing work that we do and the remoteness that we have. Where else can you drive for a whole day and still be in the same state?
And have not seen a house.
And seen a couple of cows, but that's about it. And passed probably 2 or 3 cars. You're not travelling in the tourist season.
Exactly.
It's totally unique, and to get that experience into police in the Northern Territory is a totally different experience where you're flying in planes, helicopters, boats, doing everything you possibly can, and the exposure you get to that and the ability as police to move onto other jobs, it provides a great platform, and it's been a great experience for all us guys, and I'm sure you guys reflect on it very, very fondly as well.
Definitely.
But the thing you come back to is the mates you had, and the mates you had in the job, and the mates you've lost in the job, and the mates that have moved on to bigger and better things that think that the grass is greener on the eastern states. I know yous are on the eastern states. And let's just say it looks like the grass is greener over there because you're looking pretty...
That was a white joke.
Sorry. We've been put out in the pasture.
Let's just say I'm probably in a glass house as well, so I shouldn't be throwing them.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad we're looking healthy. That's
right.
You're looking fit. You're looking fit.
Like I said, we live on just about 4x gold and slow cooked.
Slow cooked meat. That's the way.
Could go wrong. Where's the issue there? No, appreciate you guys coming in and dropping in and having a chat and catching up with some members from the past in Darwin. It's good to see you back up here and watch with interest and listen to your podcast, and it's a great experience and a great reflection about what we've done and where we've been, and some of the stories that are being told. As you know, every ex-copper loves a good worry.
Loves a worry.
Well, definitely. And we got some good ones from you earlier, didn't we?
And stuff that no one probably know, and stuff
that's right.
And stuff that you guys probably didn't even know either, where we'd been or what we'd done, but. I have been classed as a shit magnet and probably get classed...
Mate, that's a whole new level.
I wasn't the only one.
I was called the Grim Reaper.
Yes.
Shit magnet was a big one. There was a rocket one. There was something rocket. Anyway, I can't remember what that was. Someone else was teasing me about that. But, mate, I'm sorry. You take the cake. That's excellent.
It provides you with the spirit and the guidance to keep doing the job and keep supporting the members because you know what they're doing and they know what they've been through, and the experience it provides you and the mateship going forward is what drives us to do what we do.
No, definitely. Well, Finny, it's been a dead set pleasure, mate. We'll probably wrap it up. From our point of view, we're here for a couple more days yet. We've got a bit of a party tonight and we've got more people to talk to, so it's
Are you sober?
We will be.
When you leave.
We're living the territory lifestyle at the moment, that's for sure.
To go back to New South Wales to live.
I can place you on the band riggers registry if you like. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure, and all the best with everything to come, and hopefully you get some good yarns from the rest of the comrades as you go around.
Definitely. Very good. Thank you, Finny. It's been awesome getting you on here.
That's the 2 Ordinary Cops, and we're done. We'll talk to you soon.